You're listening to Power Business, proudly brought to you by MTN. Today we make moves. While consumer spending in South Africa remains cautious overall, one part of the economy is quietly thriving, and that's the retail health sector. According to the latest data from Stats SA, the sector has grown by 7.1%, with retail pharmacies and small medical practices playing a greater role than ever as accessible, community-based healthcare providers. So what's driving this growth, we asked this evening? How are the frontline health businesses navigating the pressures of digitalization, compliance, changing consumer behavior as well? And what role does strategic funding play in indeed enabling their success as well? Joining us now to unpack the trends, the challenges and future prospects is Christina Mooki, who's the Head of Medical Partnership at Operations at Merchant Capital. Christina, good to have you on the program this evening.
Thank you so much, Nhlanhla, and hello to all of the listeners.
Let's begin with the headline figure, a 7.1% growth in the retail health sector. What are the key drivers behind this momentum?
Right. So I think, Nhlanhla, let's start with the story of healthcare. Healthcare, if you just rewind a few years, comes from COVID, where they were under immense pressure and were in the survival state. And now they are moving towards more thriving state. The reason why we are seeing this growth is because of new technologies that are being invested in, as well as the initiative of preventative health care, which is patients going to see their primary care practitioners for screenings, early detections, vaccinations, as well as routine checkups. And that's what we are seeing is driving this growth.
Yeah. Retail pharmacies and small to medium practices, they're becoming the backbone of frontline care. How is their growth experience or their presence improving health access, but also their outcomes, especially in underserved communities?
In some communities in Nhlanhla, our pharmacies and our small medical practices are first-line defense of common illnesses and for preventative care. Studies are showing that chronic illnesses in South Africa are increasing. And so you can imagine that, as a patient, you need to see your healthcare practitioner quite regularly in order to maintain, especially if you're a chronic patient. And that's why they become so critical. In some incidences, there are no hospitals, and therefore those healthcare professionals actually enable the community to access healthcare.
With the rising burden on chronic illnesses, how are these providers adapting their services to indeed handle this long-term care need while still maintaining agile and affordability as well?
Right. So on the handling of the chronic illnesses, I think there is a move towards preventative care, as mentioned. So early detection becomes paramount in this case, so that you can actually pick up illnesses before they even come, and you can manage them accordingly. But some of the challenges that we are seeing that these businesses are facing is things such as needing to ensure that they have adequate stock, or investing in the technologies that will be able to assist them push their businesses forward. So it's a balancing act. And at the end of the day, these pharmacies and healthcare professionals are also entrepreneurs in South Africa. Yeah.
Digital health looks like telemedicine and electronic records are becoming more widespread. What are the biggest opportunities here and barriers for small practices who are looking to embrace this tech?
So I think our healthcare practices and professionals are time poor and often asset light, and struggle to access traditional finance, right? It's great that there's new technologies, but you actually need the funding in order to be able to access those technologies. So being able to access a funding solution that is suitable for your business becomes paramount.
Yeah. The report also flags regulatory and compliance burdens. How are independent practices and pharmacies managing these growing costs while staying focused on patient care?
So when it comes to compliance, there's items such as your CPD points, which is continual professional development, which doctors need to make sure that they are always keeping on top of. In addition to that, there's administrative costs as well as the compliance costs. Again, having a good funding specialist on your side will assist you, when navigating all of that, as well as navigating being an entrepreneur in South Africa. Ultimately, that's where merchant capital comes in and are able to assist businesses, get access to the right kind of funding.
Christina, preventative healthcare is gaining traction, especially in community settings. How are smaller health providers integrating things like health screenings, education campaigns, and lifestyle support as well?
This is a very important point and quite key for everyone to be driving, which is the idea of being able to see before you get into a position where you are ill. So screenings, early detections, vaccinations, and making sure that the systems are in place from an administrative perspective to be able to handle the patients and make sure that you can notify patients when they need to come for their routine checkups becomes critical for healthcare professionals.
Access to funding remains a key growth enabler. What kinds of financial products or partnerships does Merchant Capital offer to indeed help healthcare entrepreneurs scale or even modernize their operations?
Right. So Merchant Capital provides asset-free finance, especially to healthcare professionals, which is built on the ethos of repay as you practice. So we understand the industry, we understand the seasonality that doctors as well as your pharmacies face. At the beginning of the year, as an example, they're quite busy, growth is up, but towards the end of the year, it tapers down because there's less patients visiting. So our funding is flexible and tailored around that seasonality. That's why we're in business, and we've been in business for 13 years, yes.
In a competitive retail environment, how can small health businesses sharpen their stock strategy or indeed improve customer service and even stay relevant in an evolving consumer landscape like this?
So again, making sure that they have the right financing on their side. Our projects come up here and there, and you always want to make sure that you're on top of whatever project by having the right funder and being able to access the funding quite quickly. So a 38-hour turnaround time becomes, perfect in that case. So if you require stock quite urgently, or if you need to, market your product, it becomes crucial. So making sure that you are aligned with the right funding partner.
Let's look at innovation. Are tools like AI-driven diagnostics or even automated admin systems within reach for smaller practices? And how might they transform operational efficacy?
Well, they'll definitely be in reach with the right funding. But what we're seeing is the trends are there's EHR, there's digital diagnostics, as well as telemedicine, which is the idea of being able to consult over the phone, which is where we are seeing healthcare moving towards. These are all items that can really shift a practice from seeing, fewer patients. Now you can see more patients because of the accessibility that you're giving to your patients. So absolutely achievable with the right funding.
And finally, looking ahead to 2025 and beyond, what are the biggest opportunities and risks for South Africa's retail health sector?
I think what doctors and our allied health professionals need to be looking at, especially in their businesses, is firstly, how can I incorporate preventative care? Preventative care is going to become a very big talking topic, and already is. And it's a way in which we can really drive growth, because we are now nurturing those that are healthy and also managing those that are sick. And I think if doctors and allied health professionals can move towards that notion of thinking, then they will definitely see that growth in their businesses. And ultimately, the sector will grow.
Maybe as a parting shot, what's your key advice for entrepreneurs and practice owners who are navigating the shift that you speak of here?
I think my parting advice would be make sure that you are, you are looking at, firstly, what am I looking for funding for? What are my projects? Asking yourself, am I aligned with the right funding, specialists? Are they flexible enough? Do they understand my industry? And do they understand the seasonality of my business? And if you can find that in your business, and you focus on patient care, then it's a recipe for success.
That was Christina Moki. She's the head of medical partnership operations at Merchant Capital, and helping unpack the evolving opportunities, but also the challenges in South Africa's growing retail health sector. Clearly, innovation, funding, access, and preventative care are shaping the future of frontline healthcare.